There we go. I guess that's better. Gotta learn to look at the camera instead of me. Jumped on here a little bit early, guys. Just to make sure the camera and everything was working, everything was cool, right? So, go check something out here. Okay. So, what in the world? Oh, there I am. Okay. So, I'm doing a. So, in the absence of tools like StreamYard and things like that, which used StreamYard before, haven't signed back up. Wasn't really doing any videos that often, that kind of thing. So first of all, I want to apologize to the people that are on Facebook. First of all, if you're on Facebook, you ran it, go look at my page and go to the link. Go to the link on Facebook and click on that and watch me on YouTube. The video quality is going to be much better. I can't, for some reason, right, cannot find my good webcam. So, as you guys know, webcams that are on your laptops are usually garbage. So, apologize for the bad view. But at least, hey, be sure to set frame rate. I don't know how to set the frame rate. I don't know anything about that. If it doesn't like it, then you won't be able to see me, I guess. Stream. Auto normal. Oh, there I am. Trying to figure out how to get back up here live. Oh, there it is. Okay. So technically this thing's scheduled for noon. So just about time to start. Again, you guys that are on Facebook, I apologize for the poor video quality. It's not good. Yeah, spam risk. Nothing like a little spam risk, right? So like I said, I'm just gonna hang out here for a little bit till we give people kind of time to jump on. Let me see if I can do some of this and learn more. Well, yeah, they're gonna experience a lower quality stream because I have a shit um, camera on my laptop. Forget what to call it. Hey, anyway, it's 12:01. So here I am, Jerry James with DubTown Bullies, coming to you live here on YouTube and also on Facebook. What's up? No, not drinking bourbon. Diet Dr Pepper. Um, so first things first, we're gonna have a brief conversation. Can't remember who it was, but somebody posted this morning that the new bully logo ought to be basically a bulldog with wings. Okay. Um, well, I'll tell you, in some ways, it's hard to argue that. Hard to argue that point. Um, of course, it is summer, and we always lose a lot of dogs in summer, either through mechanical failures, which of course are unintentional, and that falls, I guess, I don't know if that falls under the header of acts of God or just an unfortunate accident, right? But and then and I'll tell you guys, I'm being real careful, but sometimes you let your dogs out. It's hot. You only mean to let them out for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you get distracted and you forget, right? And so then the dogs end up being out in the yard way too long, and they get overheated, and then what ensues is what ensues, right? So we lose a lot of dogs in the summertime. Um, some people haven't climatized their dogs, starting in the spring. Gradually get them used to the weather getting warmer. Um, my dogs can probably handle it out in the kennels, with temperatures up to 95 degrees. But I'm not pushing it, and that's the thing. It's just not working. So, typically when it kind of depends on the heat index, but usually when temp gets to be about 90, between 90 and 92, that kind of thing, dogs come in the house. They go in the dog room with air conditioning, and I'm just not going to risk losing. Just not going to risk losing my dogs. Some of my dogs, some of my dogs can handle the heat better than others, and that's just a fact of life. Some just handle it better. Some have a little bit longer muzzle. You know. Um, they like it out there. They can handle it. Like I said, they can handle it better. But I just, to be safe, I bring everybody in. Now, one of the things that and look, guys, I have misters on my kennels. I have fans in the kennels. But still, you know, I step inside there and I hang out for a minute, check and see, really how it feels in there, that kind of thing. But if I go out there, and I'm fortunate in that I'm retired, I work part time, I can get by the house frequently, or I'm not. And in the summertime, I usually head out pretty early when it's still pretty cool, right? And so I can, and I'm usually only gone for 5 or 6 hours, so I'm usually back by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, before it gets hot, and then I can kind of deal with the dogs and so on. Oh, by the way, I'll show you. Beard's in the way, but that old big Buster right there. It's the only problem with the beard getting long. It blocks out the merch. But hey, anyway. So, but really, in the summertime, yes, we lose. Yes, we lose people. Nah, shit, not people. We lose dogs. Lose dogs to the heat. But here's the bigger issue. Um, Through the continued heavy incorporation of bulldog lineage, right? And dogs that we know. Look, guys, their phenotype just screams bulldog. You can look at the difference in the phenotype of the dogs today from 10 years ago, even from 5 years ago, and it has changed much further to the bulldog side. And I get the race for mass and bone and so on. I get it, okay? And I've talked about this before, but that post this morning kind of spurred this on. I wanted to just talk about it a little bit more. So many of the dogs just look like bulldogs. And look, don't get me wrong, because I have, let's see, I have one dog. I guess, I mean, I don't know. Buster doesn't look like a bulldog. He does have a shorter muzzle and he does have a big round head, but he doesn't look like a bulldog. On the other hand, Bella from last year's litter, the Foking Sriracha and Maggie breeding, she does favor that phenotype quite a bit more. She doesn't handle the heat as well. She's also little, it's 13 and a quarter inches tall. So I'm real careful with her, and but I mean, she's been embark tested. She's good. Other tests, everything's good. She's not old enough to do, extensive testing on and everything, so, but what we've been able to do, she's fine. But the fact that she has the really short muzzle, just the things that brachycephalic dogs have, having her out in the heat, given her size and the mass that she has and everything else, it's just not a good idea to tax her cardiovascular system, right? So I really look out after her, right? And so, the incorporation of and the adoption of, right, such heavy bulldog traits in our dogs. Let's see what this is. I want to do that. has led to a decreased lifespan, and hence all the weans, right? And look, dogs die for a lot of different reasons, but we're having some issues, guys. Here's the thing: as a responsible breeder, I will never understand why you want to build a product, okay, only for it to, let's just say, come apart much earlier than it should, right? So if you take something like an automobile, right? Let's just say GMC with a 6.2 liter engine, a newer model. Yeah, you guys probably, maybe you've seen all the recalls, class action lawsuits, things like that. They've been having engine failures and everything. A lot of them before the vehicle's even a year old. Okay. So it's a defective product and it hurts the reputation of the manufacturer. Okay. What's going on right now in the by and large in the community that breed these types of dogs with the intensity that they do? They're doing the same thing. They're the manufacturer of a defective product. Now people go say, my dogs are blah blah blah. Okay. Well, Life when I got into the breed and what I read about was, you know, um, the expected lifespan was 10 to 12 years on our dogs. Boy, I tell you, what I've been seeing, is you're lucky to see six, maybe eight tops on a lot of these dogs. Um, and I've talked about this before, right? A dog's heart and cardiovascular system were designed, okay, if you will, to handle only so much, right? But dog's gotten bigger, cardiovascular demands on the dog has gotten bigger, which leads to a reduced lifespan. The bigger issue that we have is just how it taxes the heart, um, you know, and heart murmurs, are most likely the culprit of most of the dogs that are dying right before their time. But here's the greater problem, right? The key to growth of the American Bully, which guys, one of the best dogs on the planet, temperament wise, and they're smart, and I just love them to death. I enjoy them. Um, and I'm going to say y'all, right? Not meaning all of you, but those that are breeding and keep on inbreeding and line breeding the same dogs, the same family of dogs, the heavy bulldog, known bulldog dogs, right? Keep breeding that, and it's it's gonna fall apart, guys. You can't keep manufacturing a defective product and expect customers to want to buy it. That's just a simple truth. So uh, I got puppies over there. They crying. So so the thing is, and I will tell you how I understand the pursuit of the phenotype, right? The bigger bone, the bigger head, the added mass, that kind of thing. But think back. There was a time 10 years ago, 8 years ago, there were a lot of dogs. Old, let's call them old school dogs, legacy blood dogs. No Dax, no Miyagi, right? That kind of stuff. Had a lot of bone, right? Had a lot of bone, had a lot of size, big heads. To me, they looked a lot better and had a better head shape. You know, I, I'm I'll never understand why we moved away from that head shape. Tighter skin, big cheeks, a little bit longer muzzle. Um, I don't think, and looking at the lengths, and a lot of other breeds suffer from this too. I mean, for whatever reason, uh, people want short muzzles on a lot of dogs, and it's not healthy. They did it to the French bulldog. They've done it to a lot of dogs. Muzzle just keeps getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and then the damn dog can't breathe. Why? I don't understand it. Why the hell do we do that? I mean, I no, right? Um, so here's what I think the key is, guys. And look, I was told this early on. All right, and I've tried to pretty much stick to it. Um, I'm chasing that standard. I'm trying to, you know, breed a competitive, top tier dog, right? But I'm I'm trying to do it right with dogs that are high percentage, old school bloodline dogs. Okay, myself personally, I have a lot of Blue Force blood and Bistro, right? Um, the Bus, for instance, right, and Waffle House. Okay, I mean those are kind of my Those are kind of my old school. Those are kind of my old school lines, right? And then some short bus in there, and yeah, I've learned, through the years and everything, short bus got a little bulldoggy. Okay, it's in there, but um, I'm using it on. Your females are females are so critical. Uh, Boy, you need to make sure you got healthy females, right? Um, if you got females that are they have good vitality, they don't go to the vet a lot, they don't have issues, things like that, then most of the time, but from the mitochondrial DNA that only comes from the mom, that has a lot to do with the immune system and a lot of structural immunities and allergies and vigor and things like that. A lot of stuff gets passed on through the mom most of the time. So if you got good females, then half the battle there, or even more than half the battle there, is won. Okay, but I feel like if we keep going, and I'm sorry if I'm rambling, probably rambling a little bit, but if we keep going the way that we're going and manufacturing a defective product, we're going to end up out of business. Okay, you can't expect people to pay, let's say, $2,000 to $10,000 for a designer dog, if you will, which is kind of what a lot of them are, what they've become, only to have that dog live until it's 5 or 6 years old. I promise you, most people would only do it once. You know, um, they'll be like, no, this ain't a good product, right? I mean, guys, there's, to me, seems to be nothing worse than parents buying their kid a puppy to grow up with, and instead of that dog living 10, 12 years, it only lives 4 or 5, maybe 6 tops. That's hard on kids, man, to lose their dog. And look, there are no guarantees in life, but we know that, and I say we because just the community. You can't convince me that those that adopt this breeding strategy by adding more and more bulldog traits don't know that they're shortening the lifespan of the dog. Bulldogs, by and large, are not a healthy breed. Uh, you know, English bulldog. And look, guys, I'm not a bulldog expert. I just know that the lifespan of a bulldog you know, is not great. I think like 8 to 10 years, if we're lucky. It's kind of like mastiffs. I mean, mastiffs have a lifespan of about 8 years. They're a huge dog, heavy bone, big, right? Poor old heart just can't. Poor old heart just can't keep up, you know. And I don't want to. I don't want to see us. And hell, it may already be too late. I don't want to see us develop a reputation of manufacturing a bad product, and I fear that's where it's headed, because it just, you know, it's just not getting any better. Uh, we talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, but I I truly believe the key is, you can go breed to those dogs. Okay, great. I'm doing it. You know, I got a couple of those breedings, right, like that. Now you guys know me. I model everything. I know my inbreeding coefficients before I do a mating and everything, and I believe that, if you can, when you breed that blood, make sure it's not heavily line bred. You can use it, but again, you use it with caution. Use it sparingly. Make sure that you interject, you know. I mean, I like to have at least 50%, right, of my pedigree old school blood. Okay. I prefer like 80% or more. Okay. Now you can still breed to, heavier bulldog type dog with a female, for instance, that's more old school. And and you're going to have some of that bulldog type phenotype pop up here and there, right? So if that's the direction that you want to go, then select those dogs that came with that phenotype, with that headpiece, the bone, the other things, right? Keep those for your program. You still got high percentage old blood. Keep those for your program. Pet home the rest. Okay. The growth in our breed, guys, is pet homes. And the thing is not every dog in the litter don't need to be bred. We got to get more selective about the dogs that we breed. Okay. I know we want to make money, right? We need to make some money, right, to help defray our direct expenses. I mean, I've been footing the bill, myself for dang near 5 years, and yeah, it's time for the dogs to make a little bit of money. That'd be great. Uh, it's not the end all be all, right? It's the most important thing is to try to breed a great healthy dog, and for people to love. That's the whole point. Yeah, I'm a show dog guy, right? We show. So we strive to breed show dogs. Not every dog in that litter is going to be a show dog. I mean, it's tiered, right? You have one or two out of 10. You have one or two maybe that are show dog. You have three or four that might be brood stock quality, right? The rest are pets, right? Not everything, not every dog turns out. Sell those puppies as pets. That's great. We need to get more good pet dogs into people's homes so they can share their joy with other people, and then we have, what they would call organic growth, right? Um, I live in a place out here in northwest Oklahoma. Most people out here don't even know what an American Bully is, and that's true most everywhere. Most people don't know what an American Bully is, and it's only through advertising and selling dogs to pet homes that we can really achieve that end. The breeding and selling to other breeders, and breeding and selling to other breeders, and that kind of thing. That's okay. Well, you got to have dogs so you can continue to breed. Females, pretty much they only, you can only breed them 3 times, and then, they got to either stay at home or go be a pet somewhere. So yeah, you have to have other dogs in the loop to, backfill, what's lost. Okay. So breeders selling to breeders, that's going to happen. But shouldn't be our main goal. Shouldn't be our main focus. Um, you know, again, like I said, we try to breed show dogs because we go to shows. Um, here at DubTown Bullies, we have 3 champion dogs. Um, have one female, 2 wins shy of grand champion. Now those are not produced dogs, right? We have not. We're young in a lot of ways. We're early. We have our third litter on the ground right now. Okay. Um, this is a litter by Buster out of one of our productions, DubTown Genesis, or Jenny, as we call it. So let me give you an example. So um, I don't have my book in here. So I'm gonna try to maybe. Oh yeah, dude. Bear with me, guys. Right quick. Well, it's all right. I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can try to remember. Okay. Um, so Buster is dang near an all old school dog. Okay. Um, four crosses to Dax on his mom's side, and then that's it. The rest of him is the rest of him goes back to Old Gotti Blood, Bistro, the Bus, Blue Force Blood. Yeah, he's real heavy. Oh shit. Trying to think. Yeah, oh, Excalibur, a lot of Excalibur blood, 30 sometimes Excalibur blood. So a lot of that old blood there. And then, and I know you guys, you might be saying, man, you don't even know what his own dog is. Well, I've had 11 back surgeries. I take a lot of medication. It affects my memory. So a lot of things that I can't hardly remember my dog's pedigrees. So I'm always having to look at them. But unlike when I used to breed horses, I knew my horses' pedigrees, but I can't retain that information anymore. But Buster is almost all old school dog, and then you have Jenny. Jenny sire was grand champion chicken and waffles, Waffle House son, and the mom goes back to bistro and other old school blood. Okay, so chicken and waffles is a 100% old school blood dog. All right. Jenny's mom, Maggie, was a 50% dog. Okay, 50% more bulldog type dogs, and then 50% old school dogs. Okay, so she had, I think, three or five crosses to Phenom. Sire line goes back to Big Red, which is Dax. Some other stuff in there. So Maggie was a 50-50 dog. Okay, so I took a 50-50 dog and I bred it to a 100% old school dog, and I got a really nice consistent litter. You know, kept three of those females, and those are the basis of my yard. And so then I take her, and thing is, see, Buster has the modern phenotype. 17 inches, 85 to 90 pounds depending on the day. Big 26-inch head. Okay, big. It's a little bit rounder than what I would like to see, but it's tight skin. He definitely, tight lipped. He definitely doesn't look like a bulldog, but he does kind of have a big old basketball head, and a lot of muscle. Um, so he's a lot of dog on a very compact frame. So so I take let's see, about a 3/4. I don't think that's right. Let's see. I'm not very good at math right off the hand, but you take the offspring of a 100% old school dog and a 50-50 dog. Let's see, what's that? What the hell does that make it? Uh, I don't know. Maybe 3/4, 5/8. Old school to a dog that's about 95% old school, right? But here's the key: the phenotype, right, is pretty much the modern phenotype, but the blood is mostly old school. Okay. Um, And I just feel like that is the way, that's the way to go about this, to, build dogs that have more longevity. Go find you, go find you, an all-edged dog to have on your yard for outcrosses. If it's not an all-edged dog, which are really hard to find, just 100% edge, most of the edge dogs will cross to the West Coast Gaudy dogs, and then really that's what started, you know, kind of that 10, 12 years ago that really, that look was just like, wow. And those really are my favorite dogs, a blend of edge and a blend of West Coast Gaudy stuff, right? And yeah, the West Coast Gaudy stuff, okay, had a little bit of bulldog in it, but it didn't have a whole lot, right? And I just feel like that's the key. And we've gotten, and I'm not including myself, but the community in a lot of ways has gotten way too far away from that recipe. Okay. And if we're going to keep things rolling and we're going to have dogs that have some longevity, I think need to get back to breeding that way, folks. You need to have some of that old blood a little bit more forward in the pedigree. You can still create the phenotypes, but you need to get some of that old blood back up to the front. All right. I honestly feel like that's the key to saving our breed, because if we don't, this shit that's going on right now, I'm sorry, to cuss, but what's going on right now can't continue. It's going to implode. It's going to fall apart. It's just longevity wise, it's a recipe for disaster. I mean, basically what we'll do is we'll end up like bulldog breeders, you know. And yeah, people still pay good money for bulldogs, but they don't last, right? I mean, some people are willing to spend a lot of money on something breaks down all the time. I mean, there was always a market for a Jaguar back in the day, that had bad electrical problems and things like that, and was basically a piece of junk, unreliable. But some people always bought them, but not as many people bought a Jaguar as they did a Chevrolet or something like that, right? Um, or something more dependable. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of maybe if you're a new breeder or something like that, a little bit of an insight into how I feel like, or what I feel like the direction we need to go. That's the direction I'm going. That's always been my direction, because I was told that back when I first got started, most of the great dogs were 80% edge, 20% Dax. Okay. Actually, I think the number was 88% and 12%. Okay, but and so that kind of stuck with me, and so I'm a very conservative breeder. You guys know that I'm real big on inbreeding coefficients and not getting things too high and stuff like that, because it's just good for the health of the dog not to have real high inbreeding coefficients. You just have a higher incidence of deleterious traits popping up, things that are not healthy for the dogs. So it's just not a good idea to have super high inbreeding coefficients. I like 12 to 14%. I will go as high as 20 on paper. But and the 20 is only for really special circumstance, something that I really want to try to create to use, in another way. But that's one of the reasons why I do my my COI coefficient of inbreeding consultations and things like that, is to try to help people navigate that fine line between achieving the phenotype that you want while also keeping enough genetic diversity in there to keep the dogs healthy. And So I feel like that's critical. I just feel like it's critical, guys. And you know, the American Bully has its culture and so on, but I believe in science. I believe in data. I'm a data-driven person. Um, Embark has done enough studies on enough different things to just let you know too much inbreeding. Inbreeding's just not. It's just not a good thing, right? So you need to be careful with your inbreeding coefficients. So if you need some help with that, reach out to me. Yes, I charge for it. So it's $100. You get 2 reports, and then I call and we discuss what you're planning on doing with the dog while you're doing the breeding. Here's what I recommend. We look at the pedigree, we see where the genetic concentration is, through your lines and that kind of thing. So it's a really good value in that it can really help shape and help you understand the breeding that you're thinking about doing. I advise you to do it before you do the breeding and not after. I've had a lot, oh, well, let me know, afterwards. Well, the horse is kind of already out of the barn, right? But anyway, wanted to talk about that. I did have somebody post here the other day that, says, oh, well, I'm a scammer because, I'm not showing the dogs, because I was kind of promoting the litter. So, guys, you guys on Facebook, I'm sorry. You're not going to be able to see this, but I'm going to take my phone and I'm going to show you guys the puppies, and then I'll go show people Buster. He's in his crate in the dog room, but just to show you that I'm not a scammer, I'm going to show you what's what. So bear with me. I'm going to grab the phone here and we'll flip the camera around and we'll take a little tour, okay? I'll pop my phone back in the carrier here. So bear with me. All right. Rotate device back my ass. Okay. All right. So try to there we go. Get my finger out of the way. There's Miss Jenny. And there the puppies. Let's see, there's 7 of them, or 4 males in there. Everybody's doing really good. Over here we got a little smut. We got a little blue tri, and we got a little black tri there. Here we got a little lilac male. He's adorable. Down here we got another black tri. We got a little smut. I believe she's I'm starting to see a dark line there. I think she's chocolate, like a chocolate smut. And then this one here is another little smut. I can't remember which ones are males and females. I know both of the black tris are males. So them are males. This little lilac pup is a male. The big chocolate smut here, she's a female. She's a monster. There's Jenny. There's my baby. Here's my baby Jenny. Yeah, her girl. She's doing such a good job. So anyway, those are the puppies, and we're gonna go out here. We're going to the dog room. It's gonna be noisy. Just a heads up. Look out, Fang. I hate that I have to keep this orientation. Oh, you guys hush. Hi, Buster. So a lot of you know. So there's the daddy. There's old Buster. Say hi, Buster. Say hi, Buster. You want to go outside? You got outside? Come on, buddy. You wanna go outside? Go. Let's go outside. Say hi. Say, what you doing, Hoss? So yeah, I'm a scammer. Just trying to take people's money. You know. So you want to go out? You want to go outside? Come on, let's go. Dad, let you go out. All right. Get your little butt out there. What's up, big dog? What's up, big dog? Yeah. Are you a good boy? All right. So anyway, are you handsome? Say, yeah, I'm handsome. So anyway, so that's Buster, and so it is what it is. So I'm not trying to scam anybody, guys. Uh, you know, we're just a good, responsible breeder trying to do the right thing and make great dogs for good people. You know. So anyway, I appreciate you guys, tuning in, and I think that's about it for today. So we'll catch you the next time when we do another one, and I guess y'all have a great day. Okay, take care. Figure out how to end this damn thing.